Without any further delay, although certainly we do enjoy delaying, particularly when we're dealing with Michael, who's doing the waiting. How about it for a man who knows all there is to know about movies, the subtitles, the Marvel universe, the DC universe, the streaming? It's Apple, it's Disney Plus, it's Hulu, it's Netflix, it's Amazon. Who can keep a track? I'll tell you who can keep track. Who keeps track of this? The brilliant Culture Blaster. He comes and goes on a rainbow. How about it for Michael Snyder?
Hey, everybody. Hi, Mark. Hi, Kim. Hi, Albert. And hi, Remarkables. You know, we do try to uplift the spirits at the end of the week, and it's been a pretty dark week. Not only did we have the anniversary of 9/11, the day before that, the murder of Charlie Kirk, and he certainly didn't deserve that. Horrible to widow his wife and leave his kids without a father. And he certainly doesn't deserve a posthumous Presidential Medal of Freedom. I thought that honor was for people who made contributions to the arts or enacted humanitarian deeds that made the world a better place. I guess he was a more reasonable purveyor of hate speech than any other political operative or propagandist. The man may have been a racist, a misogynist, and a homophobe, but he was always polite about it. And so consequently, you know, he's being mourned, and we're sorry
I see what you're doing here.
He lost his life. But you know, let's be serious. Other people have fallen victim to political violence. It is never the answer. Opposing the other can only make matters worse. And I just want to say that without embracing civility and kindness and understanding and a commitment to genuine democracy, the American experiment will have failed. We're kind of at a tipping point, Mark.
Wow. Very eloquently put. And the people in the chat, as you shall see maybe later, if you watch this segment and see the chat, they agree with you and applaud you. So
yeah, you know,
I'm excited, though, that you will distract us with some things that we can indulge in.
And I will. And the funny thing is, my favorite film of the week,
some dark horror thing?
No, it addresses the crumbling of the American experiment in a lot of ways. It's called The Long Walk. I mean, speaking of the country going down the toilet, The Long Walk is a movie about a dystopian America in the very, very near future. And it's as good a movie based on a Stephen King book or story that I've ever seen.
Wow.
And though its dystopian circumstances are speculative and kind of troubling, that's not really his frequent excursion into full-bore supernatural horror. You know, we usually expect that from him. This is more, you know, again, speculative fiction, and it deals with some real political and social issues that we're confronting. America is in terrible shape. And one of the ways the government has distracted people is to put a kind of competition that is covered in the media at the center of things. And what the competition is, young men are picked from various locations. They apply to be a part of the Long Walk. And what it is, as it says, a long walk. All these guys are out on a road. There's a specific route that they're taking, and they have to keep going at about 3.5 miles an hour. And if they drop out at any point, they're out. And there are other little strictures, and there are armed guards that will take them out if they falter. And so the one survivor in all this gets a lot of money. It's very much like, you know, some of these games and competition shows on television, but it's taken to the nth degree. And I have to say, this was the first novel the guy ever wrote, The Long Walk. And he wrote it between 1966 and 67 when he was a freshman at the University of Maine. It was published later, I think in 1979 under a pseudonym, but it predates other dystopian novels like The Hunger Games and even the original Japanese book Battle Royale, which came out in 1999. And like The Hunger Games from the mid-2000s, it spawned a successful film adaptation. And it was about one of these dystopian competitions that kind of keep the bread and circuses for a disadvantaged population. Well, the movie based on The Long Walk is a better film than any of the movies in the Hunger Games franchise, 4 of which, by the way, were directed by the very same guy who directed The Long Walk, Francis Lawrence.
Wow.
So maybe he learned things along the way, but the script, which is written by J.T. Molnar, is really good, and the actors are wonderful, led by Cooper Hoffman as Raymond, number 47 in the competition, a young man who's trying to find a better life for himself and his mom, played by Judy Greer. And this whole enterprise is overseen by a guy called the General, played in fierce and fearsome fashion by no less, I gotta love this, no less than one of our heroes from many, many years ago, Mark Hamill. That's right. Luke Skywalker is now a villain in this film. He's the General.
What?
This was really powerful and impactful. And again, considering the economic circumstances so many Americans are facing with the evisceration of social services and what have you, there is a creepy near future prescience or prescience.
Well, evisceration and prescience is
God, it was really well done. And by the way, in case anyone does not know, Cooper Hoffman is the son of Philip Seymour Hoffman, the late Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Thank you.
And he has the acting gene. He is quite good. Nepo baby my ass. But there are also really good young actors, among them David Johnson, who plays a kid who kind of allies himself with Cooper Hoffman's Raymond character, and many, many others. Charlie Plummer's in this thing. It's good, and it is in theaters starting today, and I highly recommend the
Wow, he really does like it. What else do you have?
Well, full disclosure, I have seen each and every TV episode and film in the Downton Abbey franchise.
So has Courtney. You and Courtney together.
Created by screenwriter Julian Fellows, whose American equivalent, The Gilded Age, which I also love, is still going strong after 3 seasons on HBO. So, I was accordingly excited to see Downton Abbey, the grand finale. And it's all about ending this early 20th century period saga, which has covered decades in the lives of the aristocratic, terribly British Robert Crawley, played by Hugh Bonneville, and he's back. He was the Earl of Grantham. His wife, the American heiress, Lady Cora, played by Elizabeth McGovern, their extended family, and their loyal or occasionally sketchy servants, and finally, we get some decent and uplifting closure from their palatial countryside manor, Downton Abbey, to their townhouse amid the hustle and bustle of London in the early 1930s.
So they had to downsize, did they?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
That's the thing that they fall out of.
One of the things that's addressed in this movie.
Wow.
You get your usual familial squabbles, new financial struggles due to the stock market crash in 1929. You get conflict amid the servants. Are you stepping above your station? How dare you crawl on your belly like a snake, sir? You get romantic angst for Michelle Dockery's Lady Mary, heir to Downton. She's a woman. She's divorced. She's become a pariah in society because of the divorce. This becomes an issue. And there's even some guarded acceptance of different kinds of love upon a visit to Downton by the legendary musical theater composer and scribe Noel Coward and his entourage. So you have a real personage in this thing, and he becomes a plot pivot.
Oh.
Because, at least one of the servants was a closeted gay man.
Now, can I jump on to the grand finale without seeing the ramp up to the grand finale? Or that would be a mistake?
You probably can, but I have to just tell you, all of this goes down in the spirit of the departed Violet Crawley, played by the late Maggie Smith.
She was brilliant.
She was the Dowager Countess of Grantham. She lingers here and there at Downton Abbey. There's a giant portrait of her in the main hall, and there's the occasional, what would Lady Violet do?
Jeanette is asking, is Maggie Smith in it, or
the ghost of Maggie Smith. Come on, the spirit.
They in flashback, or they just refer to it?
Well, yes. You see a few brief images of her, and you do have this giant portrait of Maggie Smith as Lady Violet in the, I guess, the Grand Hall of Downton. The granddaughters, Mary and Edith, are always talking about Lady Violet. I have to say that
she's passed away. Thank you
so much.
This longtime viewer felt great joy at developments in the movie, such as scullery maid Daisy becoming the head cook at Downton and finding love in her marriage to butler in training Andy. It's like catching up with old friends played by these wonderful actors. Jim Carter is still here as the loyal longtime butler Carson. Joanne Froggatt, so good in the recent crime TV program, the one
with the police.
There are so many of them out there. But
The wonderful crime program that he's
there's
so
a million
wonderful
of them.
in.
She's still here as lady's maid. And Brendan Coyle is her husband, the gentleman's gentleman. John. Look, almost everyone of note gets a curtain call, including late additions to the ensemble. Like Cora has a frivolous brother, Harold from America. He's played by Paul Giamatti.
Oh.
And
Wow, Paul Giamatti's in it?
yeah. And Downton Abbey in all its incarnations is a soap opera. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
But that soap is of the high-end lavender fragranted variety.
I didn't. It was too soapy for me, but Courtney loved it, and
never-
most people loved it.
I've never minded using this soap and this grand.
Do you think it would have been great to be one of the moneyed aristocracy? Let me ask Kim, because Kim, I think, always sort of dreams of like of being a wealthy landowner.
Just because I wanted to win the $1 billion.
Yeah, but she doesn't get interested in a lottery unless it's at least how much?
At least $1 billion.
So do you think you would have enjoyed that? I mean, look at how you have to dress up and everybody's evaluating you and you have to get married, and if you're,
Yeah, I don't like the lot of the lives of women in those days, but yeah, the dresses and the tiaras, I'm down. Bring me the
maybe.
crown.
I get, the whole thing, it just seems like dress up looks like a drag to me. But I'm looking at a
refuse
t-shirt
to
guy.
wear a tiara. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. By the way, the show I was thinking of that Joanne Frog was on is Mobland. It's just a fantastic show.
Okay, good.
I just, I see so many movies and TV
Could you
shows.
spend
in
a
one
little
week.
bit more time on Downton Abbey?
I think you're the one that did a little excursion into Kim's opinion of the
That is true.
aristocracy.
You're right. All right.
Bruh. It's in theaters.
My
Lord.
bad.
My bad. I'm sorry.
It'll be fun to stream. Okay, let's move on. I found The History of Sound to be like a beautifully written and executed period drama about two music scholars in post-World War II America who fall in love during a time when that was not the sort of thing men did outside the closet.
Is this a true story?
There are historical
Touchstones that are true?
touchstones, yes,
All right, very
indeed. Lionel and David are fresh out of college and decide to hike through rural areas to seek out and record traditional folk songs that would otherwise be lost to posterity. And on the road, they grow closer and closer, but away from their sociological and cultural quest, the expectations of society and their baggage of different backgrounds prove difficult to surmount. So the biggest strength of The History of Sound is
I don't know what you just said. I know there were a lot of words there put together in a
well,
very
easily.
sophisticated sounding
Okay, but
sentence.
they are in the midst of this
they're
quest for
challenged
music.
by what?
They're through this musical quest, but
Yes.
society and their different backgrounds serve to keep them at odds.
I see.
Romantically. I mean, they have the attraction.
nothing.
If you're not paying attention, that's fine. Mark.
I'm paying attention,
The
but
biggest strength of this movie, right,
Yes.
is the casting. Paul Mescal and Josh O'Connor, two actors at the top of their respective games, play the poverty-born, hard-on-his-sleeve Southerner Lionel, that's Mescal, and the more well-to-do cerebral Northerner David, that's O'Connor. Look, if this it feels a little chilly at times, and it might be due to the desolation and the grayness of the settings as they travel in the backwoods and such, and there's pain watching the repressed emotions of the leads. It's kind of tough to deal with, but there is pain to be mined here. A valid comparison would be to Brokeback Mountain.
okay. all
Although
right.
that movie's had that sweeping Western setting, and there
Yeah.
was a willingness to have the emotions of the two men in love be more overt or theatrical, despite the taboos that burden both films' couples in these respective eras and circumstances. Still, director Oliver Hermanus, who co-wrote the screenplay with Ben Shattuck, has told a kind of a unique and tragic story with skill. And despite the downbeat nature of it, I was fascinated by the glimpse of backwoods song hunting, and I was kind of hypnotized by the sound of these earthy, rustic tunes that the guys collected. And again, Mescal and O'Connor are as good as it gets in the central roles of two men who deserved happiness together, but they were like victimized by their time. The History of Sound is in select theaters.
All right. Very good.
So let's move on. Strangely enough, this next film also focuses on a couple making field recordings, albeit in the 1980s, and a couple having relationship issues, albeit of another kind. It's called Rabbit Trap, and it is a spare folk horror movie set in the Welsh wilds, and it is graced by another pair of exceptional leads, Dev Patel, of he was in The Green Knight. He was in Slumdog Millionaire. You know Dev Patel, very talented man, and Rosie McEwen. And there's a real find in a young actress named Jade Crute who plays the movie's third and a crucial role. As good as they all are, and as kind of atmospheric as the terrain is, this tale of angst and dislocation below the seemingly placid surface of the married artists Darcy and Daphne Davenport, played by Patel and McEwen, becomes predictable as soon as this strange young boy, played by the androgynous Crute, shows up and tries to ingratiate himself with Darcy. And by the time Darcy comes upon a fairy circle, right, of mushrooms in the nearby woods, not too hard to see where Rabbit Trap might be headed. The cinematography isn't quite Discovery Channel level, but you know, you're out there in the Welsh countryside, or what stands in for the Welsh countryside. I think they're in Yorkshire, but it's visually memorable. And on the other hand, the sound design is really unsettling as these nature noises recorded by the Davenports become more and more unnatural sounding, and things do get heated, but ultimately Rabbit Trap is as, let's call it, as ephemeral as fairy dust.
Wow, ephemeral is a dang word, too.
At the moment, the directing of director and screenwriter Bryn Cheney is a little more developed than the screenwriting of screenwriter Bryn Cheney. Rabbit Trap is in select theaters. You know, it was
a bit disappointing, is what I'm getting.
Yeah. I was also a little disappointed that despite the powerhouse casting, with The Man in My Basement. This is the work of author Walter Mosley, best known for his post-World War II mystery novels featuring the biracial L.A. detective Easy Rawlins. Mosley wrote the book, The Man in My Basement, and co-wrote the screenplay. And there are committed quality performances by Corey Hawkins, a young black man who has lost his way, who has left a house in the Sag Harbor, New York community, which is historically a longtime African-American enclave. And this house has been kind of a burden. He has no money. He's kind of shiftless. His friends say, you got to get a job. He can't hold on to work. There are issues in his recent past that are responsible for that. And this white guy shows up, played by Willem Dafoe, and he says, rent me your basement for 2 months and I will give you thousands of dollars. And so he agrees to do it. But what the Dafoe character does in the basement is not what anyone might expect.
Oh my God! And this is you didn't like this.
No, I did like it to an extent, but I thought it was flawed. I have to say that the performances by Hawkins and Dafoe, and Anna Diop as a young woman who's sort of an expert in African American folk art. They're all quite good, and there's a promising devil's bargain sort of thing here that's set into motion with racial subtext,
sure, and
the historical resonance surrounding the community of Sag Harbor.
Who plays the lead?
A guy named Corey Hawkins. He plays Charles Blakey. There's an ancestral home, and they're going to foreclose on it, and he needs the money, and this guy shows up.
I kind of like it. Well, it's not a horror movie.
No, but there is a supernatural vibe that suffuses a lot of it, and that doesn't really pay off. I'm not trying to spoil anything.
Suffuses is a big one.
There is quality here, and the performances are wonderful. I just feel that the script kind of meanders a little bit here and there, and there are moments of great drama that don't really they didn't stick the landing. But The Man in My Basement is a quality movie on many levels. It's in select theaters, and it will be available for streaming on demand on September 25th. Let's quickly wrap things up. I've got to tell you about this. My sleeper of the week, and you're going to love this, is Code 3. It is a dark and often funny glimpse at a couple of paramedics and their trainee during a 24-hour shift on the streets of Los Angeles. Rainn Wilson is Randy. That's Rainn Wilson, right, from The Office. He played Dwight on The Office. He played Harry Mudd in Star Trek Discovery. He was the lead in the very funny superhero comedy Super. He plays this guy, Randy, a veteran EMT who has seen too many bodies over way more than a decade and kind of on the verge of burnout. And his co-star is Lil Rel Howery.
I love Lil Rel.
He's great here as Mike, who is a kind of laconic guy toughing out the gig behind the wheel of the ambulance until something better comes along. And then there's young trainee Jessica, played by Amy Carrero. She's an eager beaver, and kind of at odds with these guys who are just struggling to get through the shifts, you know.
That's funny.
So this has a lighter touch than the similarly themed Bringing Out the Dead, and it gives Wilson a really strong lead role that he commandeers with what I'd have to say is wit and fire, and of course he's ably supported by Howry. There is one phenomenal rant by Wilson, whose character of Randy breaks the fourth wall now and then, that felt like he was channeling. Remember the furious anchorman Howard Beale, played by Peter Finch in Network, the 1976 satire about Patty Chayefsky? Like Beale, Randy is mad as hell at being overworked, underpaid, and underappreciated, and he isn't going to take it anymore. Code 3 was directed by Christopher Leone and co-written by Leone and Patrick Pianezza, and was purportedly inspired by Pianezza's experiences as an EMT.
Wow.
For all the laughs it generates, Code 3 does have a number of serious moments that feel emotionally true. Again, this is not a great film, but man, I enjoyed it. The only movie I thought was better to watch, other than the opulence of Downton Abbey, would probably be The Long Walk. Code 3 was a lot of fun. It's in select theaters. I think it's going to play well at home. It also features Rob Riggle as a nasty ER doc and the great Yvette Nicole Brown as a salty, sympathetic dispatcher at the ambulance company. I liked Code 3.
Wow, he really liked Code 3, everybody. I know another season of Only Murders in the Building is coming.
Yeah.
Did you see any of it?
I did. I've watched the first 3 episodes, and in season 5 seasons, Charles, played by Steve Martin, Oliver, played by Martin Short, and Mabel, played by Selena Gomez, have to contend with the death of the beloved doorman at their Upper West Side apartment building.
Oh, my goodness.
The Arconia, and its connections to the old school New York mob and the new version of the mob as embodied by 3 tech billionaires. And honestly, and the guest stars are Tay Leone and Bobby Cannavale as husband and wife in the mafia. And as the 3 tech billionaires, get ready, Christoph Waltz, Renee Zellweger, and Logan Lerman. And so far, this thing is really
That's great.
up to snuff. If you've watched and enjoyed Only Murders in the Building on Hulu, season 5 is available and will be rolling out more episodes after the first 3, which are now on Hulu for your delectation and highly recommended.
Only Murders in the Building. He likes it. And it's coming soon on a Hulu.
It's out there already, but
it's coming to your Hulu whenever you click on it. It's there already. Code 3, about the paramedics with Rainn Wilson playing Randy, and the veteran EMT who's kind of had enough, seen it all, done it all. Lil Rel Howry, I think it is, last name.
It is
Howry. And Amy Carrero. Michael Snyder, the Culture Blaster, really likes it. Says it's a really good ride, it's funny, and he recommends it. The Man in My Basement, the Walter Mosley inspired offering. He was the guy who wrote a bunch of stuff for these post-World War II mystery novels. Takes place in a Sag Harbor enclave made up of largely African Americans. Willem Dafoe, the white guy, shows up, and he may be the savior to their economic vice.
Yeah, man.
The thing that's squeezing them.
Charles needs money to hold on to the ancestral family home, and maybe this guy will help out.
Anna Diop and Corey Hawkins is the lead in that. And Michael liked it, although he felt they didn't quite stick the landing on it. Rabbit Trap, set in the Welsh countryside. Dev Patel, Rosie McEwen. It was okay. Is what I got from you.
Yeah, it was not great, but it was not terrible. Michael Snyder, the Mark Thompson Show.
The History of Sound with Lionel and David hiking through rural areas, recording folk songs. 2 actors at the top of their game, you said. Kind of the sad realities is what I got.
Tragic love story.
Yes, tragic love story involving 2 gay men. But Michael said it's okay.
Yeah, it's for what it is. It's good. It's just
it's just not Brokeback Mountain.
No, it doesn't have that kind of sweep.
Downton Abbey, the grand finale. The Julian Fellows offering wonderful actors. Michael liked it and said that if you're a Downton Abbey lover, you will love this. And finally, The Long Walk, the Stephen King book from the 60s, now hitting the screen. Better than any of the Hunger Games offerings, and that's worth a particular mention here because this film is directed by director of the Hunger Games.
Francis Lawrence, who directed 4 of the Hunger Games films.
Wonderfully acted. Cooper Hoffman, the son of Philip Seymour Hoffman, Judy Greer, Mark Hamill plays the villain, and Michael liked it.
Oh, very much.
The Long Walk, it's called. Well,
yeah,
Michael,
I've been with Mark. There is no short pier. I just wanted you to know. There's just
the Long Walk. Short Pier might be the sequel. I'm grateful for your patience. Thank you for hanging out. You can read Michael's musings in thevoicesf.org. Thevoicesf.org.
And even though it's going to be remote because I'm in LA and going to art openings and what have you, like Gabba Gallery tomorrow night downtown, big opening, I will be watching Giants Dodgers live from Oracle Park all weekend long. What a titanic matchup.
Yes, indeed. And your Niners?
Against the New Orleans Saints, I'm
It should be when they win, but they won't have
Brock. They may not have Brock. I know they're not going to have.
They're not going to have Brock, and they're not going to have
Kittle.
So, good luck.
Thank you.
Comes and goes on a rainbow. Bye-bye, Michael.
So long, everybody. See you next week.
Yeah. What a spirited offering that was.